So this is where billionaires get it twisted. And I'm kind of disappointed in Tony because he should know better. And just because you feel like you got all this money and this power, you feel like you can't be touched. And then somebody has to remind you that you can be touched. So what's going to happen to our hero today? Support the comic book industry by visiting your local comic book store. My name is Doran. This is SCM Comics. We continue our coverage of Iron Man with number 8. Our story starts off in Iraq, where you got Commander Ayani of the LPF, that is Latvian Patriot Front. And he's the guy who has made a deal with Iron Man. So he's going to go finalize that deal. So he walks into this extravagant hotel and he is met by the cavalry. So he's like, finally, when I made this deal with Stark, this is what I expected. Extravagance. So the cavalry is like, all right, well, let's talk some business. He was like, here? With all these people around? And the cavalry is like, look, we bought out the hotel and all these people are Stark employees. So he's like, oh, I expect none less of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she goes, formerly of S.H.I.E.L.D. And he goes, is anybody formerly from S.H.I.E.L.D.? So she's like, all right, how can we help you? And he goes, you see these devices? Doomed soldiers that are loyal to us have these devices. They need an extra layer of encryption so that we can talk to them securely. So Calvary's like, we can work that out. So then he's like, how you gonna get past the magical dome? And Calvary's like, you let us worry about that. Then all of a sudden, the Winter Guard decides to pay a visit. And Commander's like, I thought you said this place was secure. And the Calvary's like, I really should have had Tony brief me more about what happened in Russia. So then we cut to Los Angeles, where Tony is at West Coast Civilians headquarters, and he's playing Visti or Vasht. I don't know if the E silent or not. Tell me in the comments. I'm not really fluent in Latveria. But he's giving Tony the business. I mean, he's giving him Euro steps and giving him some crossovers, and Tony's like, damn it, you should have kept this game here. It should never went to Europe. This dude's even saying how he used to race horses with Jokic's brother. That's Nikola Jokic for Denver Nuggets, who should have won the MVP this year. Like, I know Shai Gilgeous had a really good year, but come on now. Joker had a triple-double. Average a triple-double. That's ridiculous. Anyway, Tony has to show this dude that he still got it. And he grabs the ball and he's like, if I make this, you got to answer a question. So Tony steps back and is like, Kobe. So after you say that, you know it's going to go in, which it does. He's like, all right, kid, now answer me this. Why in the hell was a LPF trying to kill you? So he explains, just like Doom, he practices magic. And once Commander Hayani found out about that, well, he had no more use for him, so he wanted to kill him. So Tony's like, how'd you get into magic? Is that like a high school elective in Latveria? And he's like, actually, I'm not from Latveria, and I'm self-taught. You wouldn't believe what you would find on the internet. And then he demonstrates by taking all the shower water and levitating in the air. And Tony's like, all right, I believe you. Bring the water back down, cold. So Tony's like, you know, magic has consequences. Oh yeah, what's that on your face? And he's like, one of those consequences. So Vestes is like, what worries me is that you're giving them Stark weapons. I feel like with those, they might be able to beat Doom. And then Tony's like, I really hate to admit this, but Doom is the scariest man I've ever faced. So if anybody could hold up against these guys, it's him. So the Tony gets an email from the cavalry and she explains how they want to update their software in their phone so they have that extra layer of encryption. So he goes to Vestes and he's like, can you handle that? And he's like, consider a handle. So as they're walking, they're interrupted by my most favorite character in this book, Iron GPT. And they go, excuse me, username. And Tony just ignores the hell out of him. And he just continues to talk. And then Iron GPU goes, username, there's something going wrong in New York. And Tony's like, there's always something going wrong in New York because it's New York. And all of a sudden, she just forms an Iron Man helmet around his head. So I guess he gave her some upgrades, or it some upgrades. And he shows a Stark plant that's going to be making the new missiles. It's on strike. Now, this is the same Stark plant that was on strike at the beginning of this run. And Tony was like, I thought we took care of this. Like, why are they striking again? So he just armors up fully. Looks like he gave a little bit of grace to this thing, but it's still private jalopy. And they head to New York. So we cut to upstate New York and we see the workers, and they are rioting, or picketing. Not rioting just yet, but about to, because there's a new security team. This time they're not demons like they were in the very first issue. But they are ex-SHIELD agents, and their leader is from the deep south. Now, I know I have like a speech problem, and I get called out a lot when it comes to stuff that I say. When this dude starts talking, he is like, I know a lot of y'all want to go with the cavalry to Iraq. That's I like an eyeball, and rack like a rack of ribs. Died laughing. We need to get said employees back to work, so we're gonna do that by any means necessary. You went straight Malcolm X in this. And that's what they do. They start beating these employees' asses. So all I'm thinking to myself is, how the hell they gonna get back to work if you beating the bejesus out of them? So then there's one dude, Raymond, who Iron Man talked to in the first issue when the first riot happened. Well, he walks up and he kicked the out of this southern dude. I mean, so hard, his tooth just go flying out. So Raymond's like, that dude that you was beating up, he has kids and a heart condition, and he's just putting it on this dude. I'm like, he might be ex-SHIELD, but he can't fight. But then the other SHIELD agents come and they start beating down Raymond, and now the southern dude was like, pick his ass up because I got something for him. And then he gets a repulsor blast by Jalopy Iron Man. So Antonio's like, damn, cavalry, who would you hire? Like, this is nuts. So he goes, Iron GPT, I need you to get some ambulances inbound and also get the sheriff's department here because I'm definitely pressing charges. So he looks down at Raymond and he's like, you and me, we need to talk. So Iron Man's like, all right, what's up? And Raymond's like, well, first off, we never worked out new contracts. And Iron Man's like, ooh, I've been really busy. And he's like, is that an excuse? So Raymond's like, hold that thought. We'll get back to that. Second off, you told me to my face that we were not going to make weapons anymore. And know what we're doing? We're making weapons. And Iron Man again's like, I know I sound like a hypocrite. No, you don't sound like a hypocrite. You are a hypocrite. So Iron Man's like, all right, first thing first, we'll finalize those contracts so we can get you back to work. And Raymond's like, oh no, those contracts null and void. We want new contracts. We want more money. So Iron Man's like, oh, come on. Not only are you like not working, but now you want more money to not work. And then he comes to the same conclusion that every billionaire comes to. He's like, Raymond, I mean, I hate to do it, but I'll just automate the whole thing to save a buck. So I need those missiles to go to Latveria, and I need them to go ASAP. And Raymond's like, that's fine. You go ahead and do it because we can hold out now. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, somebody donated a large portion to us to the point to where we can wait. And Iron Man's like, hold that thought. I'll be right back. He flies over to Brooklyn, and the costume that she's in is not fooling him at all. So she doesn't even try to hide it. She starts doing her Black Widow thing and starts shooting at him. So he's like, Natasha, wait. And she's like, whatever, Tony. And shoots him right in the face with one of those Widow blasts. And he's like, stop shooting me. I'm tired of being electrocuted. So then he goes, I know you started the strike. And Natasha's like, yep. Just like I know that you went behind my back and did the one thing that I told you not to do. And then Tony's like, well, people got hurt. And then she's like, this is how it is. This is what happens when you bring down like corporations and governments. People get hurt. So then she's like, it's not too late. You don't have to go down this route. And Tony's like, no, I got to go down this route. So Natasha's like, all right, well, just know one thing. That next time I come back, I might come back with the Avengers. So then Tony gets back to the factory and he's like, all right, glad you're still here. Let's talk about this deal. And then he goes, all right, well, not only do we want double the pay, but we also want 3 seats on the board. And Tony's like, I just got back my board. Just got back in control of my board. And now you want 3 seats? And he goes, yep, you want 3 seats. Now, I'm never, ever going to have any kind of business or corporation. But I tell you what, I would never, ever go public. I don't care if it means double my net worth and so on and so forth. Just the simple fact that I want to be able to control my business. I don't want to be forced out of my own damn business. I want to be at the top. I want to be able to make the decisions, especially since I'm the one who built it. I don't need any outside forces coming in here saying this is what you need to do now, and then they can fire if they want to. Just ask Steve Jobs or Vince McMahon or any countless other people who has been fired from their own company. So all of a sudden Tony goes, all right, fine, deal. You got the contracts and you got the seats. And they shake hands, and Vestige is shocked. She's like, I'm shocked too. He's like, hold on, time out. You pretty much have given away control of your company. And Tony's like, I need to be accountable to things that I do. And I can't just say it and then not do it. So this is me trying to do it. So as they're flying, he sees himself having a newfound respect for Tony. And then all of a sudden, Iron GPT chimes in. And she goes, excuse me, username. A message that I've been ignoring as a rushing phishing attempt might not be. Take a look at the queue up song. All you see is Red Widow. And she goes, Iron Man, are you listening very closely? If you want to see Miss May and Commander Hayati again. And all of a sudden this song starts playing going, I got the power. If I wasn't monetized already, boy, I had that song playing in the background as we speak. All you would hear, it's getting kind of heavy. So Tony goes, Iron GPT, get me a flight plan to wherever she's at, and please turn off that song. And then Vestige, I know somebody's going to give me shit because I probably mispronounced this dude's name I don't know how many times. And I'm not blurring out that last cuss word. He goes, you're a hero, Iron Man. A real one, and I'm going to save you.